Yes, this is on. First of all, good afternoon to my sisters from MCJW, whom I love, and for any other group, I wouldn't have been here today. This is kind of, when we look at the title of this program, LGBT Equality, Our Work Has Just Begun. That unfortunately is rather prophetic, but probably reality. But I am honored to be on the stage with 4 people whom I know pretty well. The first of whom, my adopted son, as we call him, my easiest birth.
Still the only vagina I ever saw.
No, that's the one who gave birth to him. Stephen Goldstein, who has been really my partner and advocate in this endeavor for more than 13 years. Jane Clemente is a courageous, wonderful, fighting woman whom we are so glad to have in our midst to keep the issues so important to us alive and well. And to my sister advocate, Hetty Rosenstein, I was never so glad to hug anybody as I was to hug her today when I walked into this room. We've been on the battle lines for far too many years. And to Tim Eustace. Tim, as you know, is an assemblyman. He used to be the mayor of Maywood, which always surprised me. Maywood has this kind of little bucolic town aura about it. And Tim and his late husband, Kevin, whom I know he still mourns, are the parents of 2 adopted African-American sons who have grown to wonderful adulthood in this little blue-collar, bucolic town to prove that we really can all live together. Hopefully we will continue doing that. So that's my personal introduction for each and every one of these to B. Podarevsky. I know you're an insomniac. I see your emails, sometimes at 2 or 3 in the morning. And Barry Lynn, who gave us a sense of stability every time somebody went crazy over whether we were going to get this program off the ground. To Elaine Myerson, who made sure, I guess, too, that we have those great corned beef sandwiches back there that helped us all move forward. So with that, I want to thank you all for being here, because this is a slightly different country that we woke up to this morning, and maybe these battles are different than what we thought they were going to be the day before yesterday. And to my friend Rocco Mazza, who I guess B said is the administrator of the Social Service Advisory Council. He is a man of such good humor, such good character, so willing to believe the best in everything and everybody that it consistently amazes me. But thank you, Rocco, for sticking with it. So with that, for the keynote speech, he did have his sandwich and his potato salad in front of him. I would like to introduce to you an advocate, the founder of Garden State Equality here in New Jersey, the first advocate I ever met more than 13 years ago, before this issue became fashionable. So, Stephen, the microphone and the audience is now yours.
I hope you will indulge me today, because I speak on behalf of several speakers.
I think you're not.
Wow, I'm a Jewish guy and I'm not loud? Okay.
Put it by your mouth.
This is the first time I've ever been told I'm not loud enough. Okay, so if you'll indulge me and a couple of the other speakers today, we're going to talk more generally about social justice, including LGBT issues, in light of yesterday's election. It would be ridiculous not to address it. How many of you have heard somebody joke, or not joke, that does it, I'm moving to Canada?
Stephen, perhaps you could use the other one.
Listen, perhaps.
Yeah.
I'm happy
You
to
test it out.
That's good. Okay.
Did any of you consider saying, maybe I'll make Aliyah? You did, I'll go with you. Come, I'm organizing an Aliyah. No. Here's the truth. Okay, can you hear me now? It's like a Verizon commercial.
Yeah.
I know, I gotta talk really loud. By the way,
Hold the microphone up.
Yeah,
in my entire life, I've never been told I'm soft-spoken. That's the first one. By the way, to be in a room with a lot of aggressive Jewish women, I feel like I'm going back to the womb. Back to the womb. I mean, really, I'm gonna have to increase my shrinkdom to 3 times a week. How's this? I mean, for a gay guy, it's like having 2 breasts in my hands. Come on. Okay, now. Is this okay, really? Because I'll go like this. You can hear it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, loud gay Jew in stereo. Okay, so. The reason I'm probably not loud enough is I could barely get out of bed this morning. 2 women have been influential in my life. The other just gave birth to me. But 2 women. I'll tell you about Loretta in a second. I was a student at Columbia Law School in the late 1980s. And in 1988, the First Lady of Arkansas came up to Columbia Law School. And I heard she was brilliant. She is married to this governor, and what we heard then was she's even smarter than he is. And so she came to our feminist law day, and I self-identify as a feminist second. I'm a Jew first. I'm a feminist before I'm an LGBT person, before I'm anything else. And she gave the most riveting speech I ever heard in my life. I never heard anybody filled with such kindness, appropriate toughness to hang in there, to stand in for the causes that are right, brilliance, commitment to the public good. I decided I want to be like her. And I was always on a search for women role models. And then I found Loretta, years later. And Loretta, I thought of you last night. I really wanted this victory so that in both our lifetimes we could see a woman be president. I wanted this victory because everything that Loretta, Jane, Hetty, Tim, and I have fought for is in grave danger today. Grave danger. The world is so different from when this program was conceived a few months ago. Do you remember when the commentator Tim Russer died? He was in perfect health. And he just plopped at his desk with no warning. That's what it seems like today. Because we all knew Hillary's lead was getting a little smaller, but that's what happens in elections toward the end. But she seems stabilized. Even those of us who thought, okay, we're scared, in our heart of hearts, we bet that it would happen. Nobody expected this. And then I watched Hillary on TV, who fought for us for so long. Decades, she has endured sexist attacks. How many men get criticized because of their looks? How many men get criticized because of their motives? Her motives. Oh, she's just a politician and she'll say anything. Other than Tim Eustace, I never met a male politician about whom you couldn't say that. But they say it about a woman. Her family, her motives, she gets attacked for staying by her husband. Things a man would never hear. She endures that crap for 4 decades. Finally, she reaches the pinnacle of success that we all thought, and it's gone before her eyes, and she looked crushed. And I think all of us were crushed with her. And along with that, our progress can be crushed. You see, I'll give you some examples. There's going to be probably 2 Supreme Court nominees. Maybe 3. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I hope she takes a magic pill. Roe versus Wade, gone. Marriage equality, partly gone. It'll stay in New Jersey because we have our individual court decision and we're a progressive state. And actually, it'll stay in a lot of states that have it by legislative fiat. But in much of the country, marriage equality is likely to be gone. It's not fatalistic. I'm not saying that yet. Obamacare. You know what? I was in Cleveland, Ohio this weekend to canvass for Hillary. And the person who canvassed with me was a mom, African American, with 5 children. Her first 3 children died together in a fire. And she's a single mom. And Obamacare is the first time she's ever had health insurance. And she called me this morning crying, saying, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Things we've worked for so long. So you see, I wish this speech could have been what it was when the good people at NCJW in Marin County approached us months ago. How comfortable would it have been to say, we've made so much progress, but there's more to come. I wish we were now in that position. It's not about just looking forward for more progress. It's much more about preserving what we have. We now have to refight battles that we never dreamed we'd refight. You know, we could talk about things like there's a Federal Equality Act that would make workplace discrimination, public accommodation discrimination, all this discrimination illegal. Please, we have a Republican House and a Republican president. That's not what it's about. I'll tell you what it's about. We have to go back to basics to make sure we live in a country that doesn't regress so far that we have to read about other Tyler Clementis. That's where we are, folks. I lead an organization now called the Anne Frank Center for Mutual Respect. It's an affiliate of the famous Anne Frank House in Amsterdam. We fight for a kinder and gentler world. And so I meet a lot of Holocaust survivors. One of them is Peter Kaufman in the front row, who used to live in Teaneck. He now lives in Fort Lee, and he survived the Holocaust in Amsterdam, and he's from New Jersey. And I meet Holocaust survivors all the time. And I'm very careful not to make comparisons between Donald Trump and Hitler. I personally don't use the term fascism. For me as a Jew and an intense Jew, those terms mean something that I don't think need to be genericized. But then came this election. No, Donald Trump has not murdered 6 million Jews and 9 million other people of color, Romans, the differently able. But when you look at the rhetoric that Donald Trump has invoked in this campaign, it is the same rhetoric that Hitler invoked in his rise to power. It is no different. It is responsible to compare that rhetoric. You can look at transcripts. And this man has just risen to power. Really, a majority of Americans think it's okay to elect a president who assaults women and refers to their body part like that. That's the kind of country we live in. It's a disgrace. So we don't have the luxury right now of talking about what more progress can we build. We have to protect the progress we have. And I say this as an LGBT person.